We know that the physical health of sickle cell disease patients is very important, but I like to say that the mental support and health of sickle cell patients is equally, if not more important. And here to talk to us today about what that looks like and how to get the help we need is Andrea Mosley. Andrea is the president of Beautiful Soul LLC, a mental wealth strategy company. She possesses a unique perspective on mental health issues and has worked with multiple facets to encourage and ensure positive mental health. Her clientels range from CEOs, celebrities, athletes, to the guy next door. Because Andrea understands the need for mental health is for everybody. Andrea's primary intention is that her clients move with confidence into their most balanced, aligned, and abundant selves. Living your life, please welcome Miss Andrea Mosley. Andrea, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. So
That's
excited
good.
to be with you today.
Yeah, yeah. You know, we from H Town. We from
That's
Houston. This is a
right.
beautiful
H
thing.
Town,
You know what
Houston.
I'm saying? I'm just good to see fellow Texans just doing great things. Let's just get right into it, Mrs. Mosley.
Right.
How does mental health connect and intertwine with everybody in society? Like we look at mental health as one thing. What is it really?
So honestly, I think people are confused with mental health and a mental diagnosis. So most people go to the mental diagnosis such as anxiety, depression. Of course, that is something that you've gone to a psychologist, a psychiatrist as well to receive that diagnosis. But your mental health is how you go about your life day to day, like how you live, your social well being, your emotional well being, your financial well being is part of your mental health. We all know that if our money is funny, our life can be difficult or challenging. So, all of these things together impact our mental health. And I think that's what we need to start looking at ourselves holistically instead of just one thing off to the side, and that is what your mental health is about.
Because let me tell you something. I know I can talk to you about money when it's funny and all that type of stuff. I've been there. I understand. You don't really feel
Right.
as good. You don't feel as good. You don't feel
Correct.
as fulfilled. You don't feel anything. And like saying. And let me tell you something. This is so crazy because as African Americans, this is
Hmm.
a subject we don't even like to discuss. Like, ain't nothing wrong with me. I'm
True.
fine. And that's not it. And is it hard to get more minorities involved in mental health? Because this is a serious issue that we all have problems with.
So we are growing and showing up for therapy, but that is true. We just have to look at culturally what we were taught. Because if you think about it, it's not funny, but it's funny. It'll always be like, "Oh, that's just your crazy uncle so and so." It was just put off to the side. Or that's that's how they just going through a phase. That's just how ain't. So it was minimized. Also, when you add religion onto the factor of the church saying, well, you just pray or fast about it, and so if you're unable to find success, then you just don't feel successful. You can have some shame and guilt because I'm praying about it, it's not changing, or I'm not crazy uncle so and so. So where do I fit into this continuum? And that is where we have the challenges. And as we're seeing, unfortunately, mental health is growing in our community. And rare, we hadn't seen this before, but after the pandemic, as we exited, we were starting to see rates of, people committing suicide, young Black men. So that's just something totally different. So um, definitely mental health is something we want to talk
Yeah,
about.
because like you said, like the pandemic, like COVID. What was, and it's funny because I remember just being alone a lot. You remember like when the pandemic? I mean, I was just alone a
Yes.
lot. uh I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what the impact was. I mean, I'm lucky we were working from home, but when I get off work, my weekends couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything. And talk to us about what that impact did to us.
So definitely, first of all, the people that were the extroverts that was used to being out and about, that was the hardest for them. Collectively, what it did to us is, like you said, we were alone. So it changed the way we communicated with each other. Our social skills diminished. It increased anxiety, anxiousness, sadness, depression because of the loneliness. There were things about ourselves that many of us had not processed or talked about or discussed before. And those things came up because when it's you, just with you, and there's not anyone else to blame or say, hey, I'm like this because, and it's like, no, it's just you. And it's like, uh-oh. And when we don't have the mental health skills, then we can find ourselves in a crisis because we don't know how to deal with it. We don't know what to do.
We didn't. Because I can honestly say, like, I was forced to actually deal with me.
Yes,
Things that were really wrong with me. I had to really figure out, like, this weight didn't just come from nowhere. I got this weight. I don't can't blame it on nobody. I ate too much. That's what
right.
I did. I did that. I ain't like it. I had to go back to the gym, do something about it. But that's what I'm saying. We just had to really be forced to
Correct.
deal with us. And and I've learned because, and I'm really interested in knowing what is your impact. You see me, I have sickle cell disease. Okay.
Hmm.
I know that there's a lot of things that happen to me because of sickle cell disease. I fought a lot of depression growing up.
Hmm.
Be honest with you, because I kept going to the hospital all the
Yes.
time. And now I'm starting to try to tell myself I'm okay, but I'm not, because I'm here again and again and again, and it keeps happening. So it's hard for me to stay motivated. And I'll be honest with you, sickle cell crisis, when I was growing up, I had them so much. I tried to commit suicide twice because my mental stability, nobody can understand that this going to this hospital, I don't like it either. And I keep going, and I just want to be a regular teenager. And that's not what's happening. What is your experience dealing with sickle cell patients?
So, sickle cell patients, I worked for communities and schools as an advocate with high school students. And one of my students, a young lady, had sickle cell. And of course, my role at that time was to make sure for at risk students to keep them in school, keep them coming to school. So I needed to have that awareness that she had sickle cell because, if you miss too many days, you fall behind. So that was one way that I supported her to ensure that she had her schoolwork. Fast forward, we stayed in touch. And upon exiting high school and she's starting her career, college, and so forth, she had an episode, as you said, where she's going to the hospital. And this had never, I mean, she called me in tears. It broke my heart because she was crying and upset. And she said, they keep asking me if I'm using substances. They don't believe that I'm really in pain. They are focusing on treating me as a substance user. I mean, she was wailing like it made my heart break because I'm not her guardian. So there was not much that I could do. I could speak to, but there's not much that I could do. And I was so angry that she's already in pain. As you said, she's already gone back and forth in and out of the hospital, and then now here she is, a place where she's seeking relief. And before they're offering relief, they're drug testing her and asking her all these questions and trying to find and define her as a substance user.
And you know what? This is part of it. This is why we have this show. So people can understand this is actually happening. We're not making this up. We're not that creative. We ain't doing that. That's something I can believe because it happened to me in
Mm,
school. Things like that happened to me. It was when I was a Texas prospect. I was playing football, and just because one of the players told the new team doctor, "Hey, he has sickle cell," they pulled me off the team. Now, what did you think that did to my mentality? I'm the starting running back on this football team. I've been in this program 8 years, and you take it from me. And that's the part I'm talking about. I didn't feel well about it, and so I went home and tried to commit suicide. But that's because the thing the football did for me was give me a purpose versus what sickle cell did.
correct.
And so these things
And it
do
was a
happen
space
to
where
us.
you felt like everybody else. Like it was
Yes.
one space where I could go and I'm not the sick kid. I'm not dealing
No.
with this sickness. And that's and what others don't recognize is that there is literally a diagnosis called medical depression. Because it is a real thing where you're constantly going to a doctor, you're constantly dealing with a chronic diagnosis. It's affecting your family. I'm sure that there were times when you were out of school, instead of holidays, hanging out or whatever, you had doctor's visits or things you had to do
Absolutely.
where other people are relaxing and you
Yes.
can't go and you can't do this. So it's infiltrates your lifestyle, and that is the mental health. See, it's your emotional health, your
Right.
social health, everywhere. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's
No, no, that was a tough time. I mean, even in college. See, I've been having these episodes all my life. And so
hmm
there's a young person right now who has sickle cell, who has probably can identify with this. They may be 9, 10, 12, 13 years old that are going to have to go through life and now have the tools to be prepared to deal with these type of things. And that's why you're here. So tell us about Beautiful Soul. Tell us about that.
so beautiful. So I started the company because I found that with the psychology, yes, that psychology degree is very important in the designs of it. But just like what you are going through, the psychology degree sits under the medical model. So the medical, even in psychology, could possibly, the way I'm trained, have me handle you as a client in a certain way. In the Black community, communities of color, we are more inclined to storytelling, relationships, like really getting to know me and know about me so you can help me. And so Beautiful Soul, the mental strategist, was like, let me get to know you so I can understand how to help you. Because what you need is not what I need. Like, I may like hot yoga. You're not going to like hot yoga. Then that means don't prescribe
Hold on,
that
wait a
for
minute. I
me.
don't want to rush over Andrea. What happened? How you, who?
Hot yoga, where they have the room heated to
Hot.
like 100 degrees and you do
Oh,
yoga.
oh,
Yeah.
okay. I
Yeah.
thought you said how you talker. I didn't know what you were saying, but
No,
I get
hot
that hot yoga.
yoga.
Okay.
Hot
Well, I said, wait a
yoga.
minute, you sure went by that fast. A hot,
No,
okay, hot
I
yoga.
said you
Okay.
may like hot yoga. So
Yes.
what happened is the strategist is like, what do you need for yourself to be okay? And what it would look like is, what would someone with sickle cell need to function and be okay and be well? What would someone that has, you know, depression on a regular day, or, just have low self-esteem? So that's where the business came about, because I was also doing manifestation coaching and getting to your desires. And I was finding that people were struggling with the mindset, with things they had been taught, with anything they were experiencing, to allow themselves to experience the goodness in life, to allow themselves to see that life was good. So that's where Beautiful Soul was developed, to bring those two together so that you could have a wonderful life that I think God wants you to have.
Right. I think that's important as well because we hear about it so much today. You see, teachers today are under so much stress, so much pressure. The things that they have to deal with and the kids and everything. You hear about them like they're just quitting their job. They're just quitting. They don't want to deal with that.
Yes.
Are they? I mean, what do we need to do to prepare them as well? Because mental health is mental health. And that's all it is. We just need to know, what do teachers need to have? How do we help our professionals? How do they deal with that?
For one thing, I think that we need to understand that teachers are human beings. Like, we don't support the teachers. Like, they're expected to go in and have all of these roles and the pressure to perform, to teach, to be a mama, a nurse, whatever they need to be to take care of our students. So one thing is like, what is some supports? Maybe bringing in mental health professionals for teachers. They bring it in for the students, for the children, but they don't necessarily bring that in for teachers. So that's one thing. Also, education. I don't know, even in my work in the high school, if I even had someone come and speak about sickle cell. We did have others come and talk to us about other diseases, other things to look for to support the children and teach ourselves. But I don't know that anyone even talked to us about sickle cell. So without that awareness, then I can approach someone in the wrong way or speak out of turn if I don't have that time to sit down and slow down and
Hmm.
get to know them and ask the right questions.
Absolutely, because it's like uh, there was I don't there was no other person in my school that had sickle cell.
Mm,
And you know where we're from. I graduated from Pearland High School, so that's a predominantly Caucasian high
yes,
school.
yes.
So you have to imagine being the only black kid in here, and everybody thinks that if you touch me, you get sickle cell disease. And so having to friends, I had great friends, but there were people because after I come back from the hospital, that's how I would be treated.
Mm.
And so, yes, it was hard. So it was hard if I wasn't doing anything that I loved doing. I had to deal with my mental. I always had to deal with my mental. I always had to do things to make me feel well because there are going to be times that I'm not going to be. And when you be missing for 2 weeks, you understand that I'm gone for 2 weeks, and everybody comes back like, "Well, what happened to you?
Where you
Oh,
been?
we don't
What
want
you
to
been
miss you."
doing?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and how important it is for people with sickle cell disease, and from the mental standpoint, to get back to getting their mental health together, getting back to that good space, that good place.
It's it's important because being in a good space is also a part of your healing. Like when we're in a good space and we feel better, our body can heal better. So it keeps you in a right state of mind. Yes, sickle cell can be and is for the person diagnosed a very lonely place to be. Because, like you said, there's not often it's not spoken about really in general. And if you're the only kid and the only person, there's not anyone that identifies with you. Not only do you have to explain to the kids, it's the teachers, the school, the nurse, like you have to keep repeating this story. So your mental health is important where someone can come alongside you and say, well, here's a way, or what can you do? Or just talk to you how you feel. Like a lot of times people just want somebody that I can talk to how I feel about what is happening to me, what I'm going through. Who listened to you? Everybody's asking you, where have you been? What's going on? You missed school. So where could you say, I had this, the hospital visit, I felt like this every time I have to go? Where was that space for you? And that is where the mental health is important.
No, none of that. And see, and this is just for my own personal situation. I had two really good, empowering parents,
Hmm.
and I mean, I don't. If I wanted to play football, basketball, baseball, soccer, whatever, my mother, my mother said, "Go do it," because she understood. She understood how much I needed it.
Yes.
She understood how important it was, and I just want to thank my mother for that because I couldn't. I had to rely on that to get to life, to get through life. I had to feel like I can go do it. And so many of us with sickle cell get told we can't do certain things. I remember the doctor told my mother, said, why would he go play football? He could die. You know, my mama told that doctor, well, at least he died doing something he loved.
Yes. Yes.
That's what people don't understand about us. And if you're a person and you're watching this podcast and you have sickle cell disease, I'm here to tell you, you have something that a lot of people don't have. You've been through some things that a lot of people have never been through. You have some intestinal fortitude. Understand that you're built to last. They gave us all numbers to expire. They told us all we were going to die at a different age. I was diagnosed at 7. The doctor told my mother, well, get ready. He won't be here long because he has till 11. So understand when you see me, this is why I'm built like this. I'm not scared of anything because they wrote me off already. So thank you so much, Andrea, for giving them an understanding of what it is to have a good mental health.
Yes. And
And
thank
that's so
God for your
important.
mother, because that's the person. See, that was the one person that helped you to support your mental health. She's like,
Yeah,
let your life have some more meaning. Let the physical part, the
yeah,
emotional part. I'm not going to define my son as this disease in his body. My son is more than that. So
yeah,
when other people are told you can't do this because of this, their life is constantly framed by sickle cell. And you are a living witness that no, sickle cell is something that you can live with, not something you have to die with.
yes,
And that's the perspective. And see, that's the mental health part. So once you have that person, it just takes one person in your life that's saying, no, you can live and you can choose to have a full life, however long that life is.
mm-hmm,
And
yeah,
here you are today,
yeah,
a host.
yeah. I'm. I'm so glad we did this episode because this is probably one of the most important episodes I've ever done. I can't tell you how many of us won't come out the shadows because we're embarrassed because we have this disease and we don't want to talk about our mental. So we all tell ourselves, I'm fine. There's nothing wrong. And there really is. Because I'm telling you, I'm one of those people. I know what that's like. And so we never, like, not just for sickle cell disease, but for everyone with mental health. Some people just don't want to admit I need help because it looks like a sign of weakness.
And help is the sign of strength.
Yes, absolutely. And so I think that having sickle cell disease has taught me a lot of different things. And somebody asked me one time, they said, would you ever take the cure? And I want everybody to go get a cure. Don't get me wrong, I would. But I thought about it. I said, I probably wouldn't. They said, what? That's crazy. It's a cure. I said, I know. But see, you don't understand. Sickle cell has made me the person I am. I wouldn't know how to, I wouldn't know how to, I wouldn't know how to have empathy or sympathy for someone if you didn't know pain. But you don't understand the sickle cell pain I have has taught me to have compassion, has taught me how to survive, has taught me how to push through. It's taught me how to move so many different things that I have to do. I told you, sickle cell has taught me how to be a man more than anything. And I'm not even afraid of that because that's truly what happened. I was forced into this to toughen it. See, people be breaking up under some stuff that we will never break up under. If you watch your sickle cell, you ain't finna break over no light bill. That light bill ain't finna bother you. You ain't finna a repossessed car ain't finna hurt you. You've been doing way too much. You little things can't bother you. And so, Andrea, let me ask you this before we get out of here. What 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 is what would you like to tell, like, if people wanted to come to your company, Beautiful Soul, and you would tell them with sickle cell disease, what would be the most encouraging thing you could leave with them?
The most encouraging thing that I would leave with them is that sickle cell is not a death sentence. That is how the disease is crouched in its ending in death, but it's not a death sentence because all of us are dying. All of us do not know our appointed time. So I would leave them with live your life. Live your life to the fullest. Have the experiences, taste the food, drink the wine, whatever it is, live your life to the fullest and know that life is good and wants to treat you well.
I, I love it. I love it, Andrea. I am so grateful for you coming on here. I have really enjoyed our conversation. I love the fact you pulled some things out of me that I've been wanting to say for a very long time. I'm so glad you told them that there's a space for them to be able to communicate. I told them there's a space for them to be free, that they can have a right to somebody having a chance to listen to them. You don't have to hold it all in. You don't have to hold none of it in. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Living Your Life podcast with Andrea Mosley. Thank you so much for stopping in, friend. Please come back and see
Thank
us.
you.
Please
Absolutely.
come see
Anytime.
us.
I
You come on
will.
back. You know
I
how we is. We Texans. We got hospitality. Come on back now. You know how
I
to come
love
on
to
back.
come back. Love to come back.